going through something, thoughts are always jumping. Let's not be so hard on ourselves. Don't try to be someone else.
Welcome to our second session of our Youth Empowering Youth Workshop. We're super excited to be doing this session, and we hope that you guys had an amazing session last time. We had so much fun last week, and we can't wait for this week. Both Karina and I have some exciting things that we will be doing. Before we start, I just want to remind everyone that make sure that you do have some space at the end, because we will be doing something fun at the end, and make sure you have some water because we will be also doing some physical activities. So for those that are here new today, we're so excited to have you here. So today's session is being used for the Mother and Daughter Conference. It's an amazing conference that I've actually been to it before, and I want all of you to find more information about it by going to Mother Daughter Empower on Instagram for more details. Also follow them on Instagram, which I will also link in the chat, so you can find out more information on how to get your tickets to watch the Mother and Daughter Empower. It should be super exciting. And here I have my co-host, Carina.
Hey everyone, I'm so excited to be talking with you guys about social media today. That's our topic. And just before we start, I want to say thank you to Chorus Music Academy and Women Empower Network, as well as Stephen Lecce and Michael T. Bolo for their support.
Before we get started, I wanted to share my personal story with everyone really fast so you guys get to know a little bit more about me. So I was diagnosed with generalized anxiety disorder at a very young age. This, of course, led to mental health issues such as an eating disorder, which we will be talking about today. We'll be getting into more depth about it, and anxiety disorder. So I was constantly worrying about everything, and I didn't want to eat at all. I went through a very rough time where I would always vomit due to my anxiety, and then I didn't want to eat or put anything in my mouth. Among the many things I worried about, I also worried about putting on weight. And I actually started worrying about that when I was in JK and SK. So I was about 5 years old. And I remember when I told my mom and dad this, they were like super shocked about it because I was such a young age. And like, no one has ever like influenced me to say that. It was just something that I would constantly worry about that would also come through my anxiety. And today I'm also better now. I'm way better than I was before. And I do many things to be positive about who I am and how to really love myself. So today we will be looking at body positivity and the pressures of social media. So again, please feel free to raise your hand in the raise your hand button on Zoom and ask us questions, or if you have any comments, make sure to type them in the chat and we will of course get back to you.
So I'll just talk a little bit about my story for those of you who weren't here last week, or for those of us who are part of the Mother and Daughter Conference that this is being recorded for, which again, super thankful for the opportunity. So I actually wasn't diagnosed with anxiety, but I have faced a lot of stress and anxiety in my life, especially my childhood. And this came from a physical health condition. So I was diagnosed when I was 12 with ulcerative colitis. And if you don't know what that is, it's basically inflammation of the colon. Won't go into too much detail, but if you hear itis at the end of something like a condition, typically that means inflammation, because that's what itis means, is inflammation. So then colitis, colon, yeah, you get it. So a little bit of a science lesson there. But anyways, so basically this caused me a lot of stress because I would have to miss a lot of school. Also, not only that, but even when I was at school, I felt a little bit different from other kids because it was hard for people to understand quite what I was going through, because it was like, you know, I had anxiety being away from home for long periods of time. So it's a little bit awkward for me when I was like 12, 13, 14. I have it under control now, 19, hey, I turned 19 in April. But yeah, like I had to explain to teachers and friends what I was going through because I couldn't always get assignments done on time, couldn't always do certain tests and assessments and things like that. And some teachers were more understanding than others. Some friends were more understanding than others as well. But I'm really thankful for those who supported me and were there for me during that hard time period in my life. And I'm thankful to have met Ida-Maria through singing and dancing, because music is something that helped me in that time period, because it was just kind of a source of peace and relaxation for me through all of that. And I met Ida, and I'm inspired by her story, and I'm inspired by all of you here today as well. It takes a lot to come on one of these calls and be confident in, like, you know, like putting yourself out there on camera and talking to people that you don't really know well. So thank you for coming once again, and I'm excited to be a co-host today. So yeah.
Thank you so much, Karina. Definitely, your story is very inspiring. And Karina's actually been like my role model and mentor through all this. And she's also have been like a really big part in my anxiety journey. If it wasn't for Karina, I'd probably still suffer from really, really bad anxiety. Obviously, I still do, but it's way better. So thanks to Karina, she's really helped me a lot.
Thank you. You really helped me a lot too.
Okay, so now we're going to get started in kind of a group discussion activity. I'm going to be asking a question. What is something that you feel insecure about? It could be something in your physical features, maybe something like your personality wise that you kind of feel insecure about. For everyone, if again, you can think about it in your head if you don't feel comfortable sharing, but again, this is a fun, safe space. While you guys are still getting started on thinking through, I'm going to be telling you all about some of my insecurities. So, my insecurities are more physical features. I kind of like everything with my personality. I think it's very nice, but some physical features I feel really insecure about is definitely my acne. Acne is something that all teenagers, especially they, when you start becoming a teenager, obviously we all discover with some acne. And I'm a competitive dancer, so I wear lots of makeup, so that could also be one of the reasons why I have lots of acne. That's why I also wear makeup to cover up my acne, especially when I'm taking social media photos, which we'll get into more depth about. I always like to make sure to either make sure I put on a filter to make sure you don't see my pimples, or sometimes I like to have the camera far away so you don't see it as much as you would if you were really close up. So that's something that I'm very insecure about. Again, we're going to get into more tips. If you do feel insecure about something, I'll be getting into more tips on how to feel like more better about yourself. And then also Karina will be talking about, how to take like breaks from social medias and the pressures of it. But Karina, what about you? What is something that you're insecure about?
So for me, I've actually gotten a lot better with this in my adulthood now because I'm 19. So I've started to be more confident. But in the past, at dance competitions, because I was dancing until I was 18, I still dance, but not competitively now because I graduated. But it would be like my body. So something for me was like, I don't want to say like my biggest insecurity because there's other things throughout my childhood that have been more significant, but I was always insecure about my thighs. I felt like I had really thick thighs compared to other dancers on stage. And I would watch like ballerinas and be like, oh, I don't have the typical body. But at the end of the day, like it does not matter what you look like. It's about the talent and the skill and the technique and about working hard. And like I just remember growing up looking at competition pictures or competition videos and being like I don't really look great in that costume. Like I don't like the way that it shows my legs and my thighs or whatever. But I mean, at the end of the day, everyone's body is beautiful. Every body is beautiful. Everyone is beautiful and unique. Don't forget it.
Exactly. Always remember that. You're your own beautiful. You guys are all so beautiful. I'm just going to go quickly because Serena also said that she is very insecure about her acne, which I totally understand that. But again, I will be sharing tips that you can kind of overcome that and really learn how to really be like, it's okay because everyone kind of has acne at the end of the day. Everyone deals with something that they're very insecure about. And social media definitely doesn't really help with that specific thing that you're insecure about. Again, like me, I also struggle with like body image. Sometimes when I wear a certain outfit, again like what Karina said, when it comes to like dance costumes that are more like crop tops, sometimes I'm very insecure about my body, making sure that like, oh, it has to look perfect, it has, or else it won't fit me well, or I don't want to go on stage and everyone in the audience seeing me looking like this. So that's something that I'm very insecure about as well. But thank you for sharing that you're insecure about that. That's very vulnerable of you to share like your insecurities, so we really appreciate that. It over to Karina to talk to her about the pressures of social media.
I feel like skin and then also like your body, like how I was talking about my thighs and everything, is like pretty common for teenagers, preteens, and just for girls in general. Even in adulthood, like even I know I'm not like, 20, 30 yet, but I'm saying like even though I've gotten better with it, it's definitely not 100%. And I do have my bad days, but just know that amongst the bad days, there's the good days, of course, and you have to have the bad days to appreciate the good days sometimes, you know what I'm saying? Yes, we're going to talk about social media more specifically now. Just before we get started, does everyone here have like I'm gonna assume like everyone has some kind of Instagram page, a Facebook, account or even Snapchat, things like that. Pretty sure everyone here does. So if you don't, you can let us know in the chat down below. But basically on every single one of these social media platforms comes the pressure to post things and to post things that you think are going to be impressive to the people that are following you on that platform. But I want to remind you guys that social media is definitely a highlight reel of everyone's peak moments in their lives. And so you might be following your favorite influencer on Instagram and then you see that, oh, you know, like she just looks so good and she's doing so well. She's so successful. Like, why can't I be like this? Well, they could be in their prime, thriving, but that doesn't mean that they don't have their low moments. You know what I'm saying? Like, Ida, you get what I'm saying, right? Yeah.
Exactly.
I know like we've had our own talks about like different models or people who are maybe like skinnier than we are, or fitness enthusiasts online and things. And we kind of talk about how that affects how we feel about ourselves. So a tip that I want to give is, I guess, like, I'm not saying to unfollow people, but maybe just go through your home feed on Instagram, like if I'm talking about Instagram specifically, and see if there's anyone on there that is not serving you. Because if they're not bringing positivity in your life, and it's like, why are you following them? You know what I mean? If you feel like they're just making you feel worse about yourself by seeing their posts, then I would just go through, do a little bit of an Instagram cleanse and remove those people. What do you think, Ida?
Exactly. It's really good to do that, especially if they're not making you feel good about yourself and you're always constantly looking at them being like, oh, why can't I look like that? Or, oh, why is their hair so perfect, but mine looks like this? Like, if they're not bringing you happiness or they're not making you feel good about yourself, then there's no reason why you should follow them.
Right. And then just another tip that I would give to go along with social media in general. So this applies to like Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, even Snapchat, whatever it is, setting boundaries for yourself. So don't go on Instagram for more than like 20 minutes a day. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like maybe some days you might have a longer period of time where you're scrolling compared to other days, just depending on your schedule. But definitely scrolling for like over an hour at a time is not good for your mental health. You know, you don't need to be doing, like, even for your fingers and things like that, you're gonna get cramps, right? So it's not healthy for you. So setting boundaries, setting alarms, setting timers, you have that ability on an iPhone. Any cell phone really has things like that. So yeah.
Exactly. Yes, it's very important to take, like, those social media breaks. I personally like to take at least, because I do school, sometimes I don't even go on my phone at all for school because, again, first of all, it's kind of distracting when you're on your phone during school. And also just to kind of give like mentally a break because, again, like I struggle, like, look, sometimes I look at these models being like, wow, like they have like the perfect ideal body. Like I wish I had that. But again, like I said before, if they're not going to serve you, why follow them? So I unfollowed all the people that make me feel insecure and not feel very good about myself. And I just have social media breaks. Sometimes I just like to go through it before I go to bed. But other than that, I don't really go like through social media as much. So it's a very important tip. Thank you so much for sharing, Karina.
Yeah, of course. And then the last thing that I'll say before I move on to a question for you guys is, like, for me as an artist, so I know some of you guys are artists in this call as well, or dancers, gymnasts, even like soccer players and things like that. You definitely have things to post, like if you show off that you won a game or you won a competition, right? I feel like sometimes there's anxiety that goes into posting things too much, right? You don't want to be, in someone's face too much. You feel like it might become annoying, but at the end of the day, like, post whatever you want. Like, you're not annoying anyone. Like, show off those achievements, girl. Like, get it, slay it, like, slay all the haters. Like, who cares about what people have to say at the end of the day? It's matters what matters is how you feel, right? Not about how anyone else feels. Like, post things that make you feel good and make you feel confident, and have you being like, you know what, I'm really proud of this, so I'm going to share it with my friends, family, followers, whoever else is on here. And then obviously just use social media in a positive way. So if you're scrolling through your feed and you see people's posts, comment positive things, not negative things. But I'm sure you all know that. But yeah, I want to ask you guys a question. So I want to know, can you guys either type in the chat or say out loud 3 things that you like about yourself? So, Ida, you want to go?